Chapter 62, Putting on the Red Light. Walking up to the building, Michael took a look up at the old brick house establishment that looked like a condemned building ready for the wrecking ball, but still standing straight and housing life. Nothing but brick laid on top of brick unevenly, and an old and rusty neon sign up front that read, "The Milk Jug," with some wood nailed to it with the lettering, "Hotel," in red paint. Since the place was supposedly that, although also really just a skin joint, a cat house, a brothel, that Michael now found to be tongue-in-cheek since the sign had been up there way before the place was turned into one. Right before, it was a cheap motel ran by an old Jewish couple that owned the place since just before the turn of the century. Ran by Old Man Ader for over 80 years. The story is Old Man Ader and his wife had bought that sign back in the day, around the 30s and 40s. I guess since it was the cheapest sign they could afford. I guess the sign was really meant for an establishment where they sell dairy products hurried from farms, back when they do that shit, back when there were still milkmen around. So when they bought the sign, they started calling their establishment the Milk Jug Hotel, and they just added that whole hotel part by themselves, and I don't know, I find it funny. Old Man Ader lived to be 104 years old and still continued to run the place well after the neighborhood changed from Jewish to black in the 20s. Well after his wife passed away and well after he went senile, allowed his soup at the time, Marcel Jefferson LeBron, really to run the place. And this place, the Milk Jug Hotel, this is where my dad brought me to when I was 12 to get me de-virginized in the mid-60s. And Old Man Ader had already gone senile by then, and had no clue since he was no longer in the mental capacity to do so, how his soup was welcoming pimps in the neighborhood to use the joint as they did. The whole thing with the place being called the Milk Jug Hotel of all things had for years and years attracted Johns and pimps and street urchins of the sort. But back then, Ader wouldn't be having any of it and would kick them out. And I remember seeing Old Man Ader then and how he stepped up to me while my dad was doing the arrangements with the pimp and that Haitian woman, and I could see it in his eyes. The man was in La La Land and truly, truly gone. He then pat me on the head and ruffled up my hair some, then went away, and I didn't see him again until I was done with the Haitian woman. I stepped out with her. Ader was in the hallway, saw me with the Haitian, stepped up, then patted me on the head and ruffled up my hair again, and went away again. And Michael now needed a moment to himself as he covered his eyes and forehead with the palm of his hand and started snickering softly. Yup. And that was that. Michael was now done reflecting on those memories. I guess with a name like Milk Jug Hotel, it was only destined to be turned into what it is now, what it has. Stepping up, Michael now saw a couple of nymphos on the block who had noticed him. Luckily for Michael, though, ones he knew he wouldn't have any quarrels with, unlike the one he had with Boone Maddock at Stumpy's. Although, if Boone was to be here, there was a good chance the scene could turn ugly into another beefy chesty incident like the one at Big Dick's. Now here's hoping the big mouth ain't here, hoping. As he walked up, a skinny runt of theirs then stepped up and then, wait, am I... Michael was almost starstruck when he realized the boy looked exactly like some ghetto version of Michael Jackson would. Am I really seeing this? He was practically wearing the trademark red leather jacket except blue instead, and his hair was jerry curled up like his. The only difference Michael saw was the kid had a faint mustache, and it made Michael think he must have come from the mirror universe in Star Trek for a second. Spock, stoic bastard, I'd punch him in the face. Hey, white boy, where the fuck you think you're supposed to be at? Why don't you beat it? Called out he. Oh, this can't be happening. After all the crazy shit I had to see tonight, now this. Michael glanced down in a way and tried hard not to laugh. If there was anything that could change the gloominess he'd been feeling up until now, it was this, being cussed out by Michael Jackson's ghetto-ass doppelganger. He even sounds a bit like him too. Michael couldn't help contemplating over the paradox he was seeing here, and there was something truly hysterical about a demure and cheerful figure like Michael Jackson now coming across as a brooding, sweaty-faced streetwise hood and seemed to be really able to hold his own. "What you laughing at, huh, asshole? You think I'm here to entertain you?" spouted out the boy wonder as he pulled out a butterfly knife and began twirling it around in his hand. "You should know I'm strapped too. And this here is just me being friendly," spouted out he again. This was really a sight for sore eyes. Michael had missed out on the thriller in the park, but it looked like he was going to get some off-the-wall shit here in the hood. "Sucker, does it look like I'm playing?" spouted out he one more time. "Hey man, chill out. I know who this Peter Pan is." Michael thanked his lucky stars that was over with because he really didn't feel like shoving this kid's head up his ass and messing up his juicy dew. As for the giant nympho that had called him out, it was a towering inferno. A giant of a man, and when stood upright, he looked like a monolith from 2001 Space Odyssey. Although I'd still say a foot short of Doris Day, that muscle-bound giraffe I met earlier. Wow, that woman was huge. Hey, big man. How you doing up there?" called out Michael, glad to see another old face from back in the day. "Not much, Michael. Haven't seen you in a long-ass time. Heard you were in a slammer. But now I can't say I'm surprised to see you out," responded the tower with a passive look. "Oh, how's that?" "Well, with the city falling apart around us, as it is, it would just be unnatural not to see you having some part in it." Yeah. I'm here to see Nikki," responded Michael, sort of getting tired of it, seeing how his reputation still preceded him. "Yeah, she's upstairs. I was surprised to see her here too. The likes of her don't really come around these parts anymore either. But since she knows the man LeBron, we welcomed her in." "Oh really? Is LaToya here too? Because..." "Wait a minute. We letting this Patty Mac inside?" asked the boy wonder, looking displeased. "Hey, I said he was cool, Benji." "Benji? That's his nickname? That cute little dog?" "Michael knows LeBron as well, so there ain't no problem here," responded the tower in a slow and even lumbering tone. "Nah, man, fuck this Patty prick. I've heard some shit about this dude around the block, and he ain't nothing but bad news bears from the sounds of it," mentioned Benji. "Hey, man, just calm your midget ass down and..." "Who you calling a midget? I'm 5'8". That's average height," yapped out Benji. "Yeah, average for my dick," responded the tower with a smug grin. "Well, fee-fi-fo-fum to you too, motherfucker. Now why don't you climb your big ass up a beanstalk and get your mama to come over and grab me up some bread with this bone here, if you know what I mean." Mr. Billie Jean had now grabbed his crotch and started shaking it in front of everyone to see. This was becoming way too much for Michael as he just about turned around and walked away while laughing his ass off. "Shit, man. Do I look 12 to you? Keep making mama jokes like we had recess and I'll turn your ass into a shoehorn," bellowed out towering Inferno, looking like a giant being awoken. "Oh, thank you for the humor. I was really feeling like shit before. I need this." "Keep making mama jokes, you say? Okay. Then your mama's got a mouth between her legs and a bitch chews like this." And with that line, Benji began flapping his legs open and shut like a clapper, then began laughing hysterically, busted out with some shrill cackling that would shatter glass. Now really rubbing it in, the towering Inferno then looked ready to walk up to him, all indifferent like, pick him up like a piece of paper, and fold his ass up like an origami. But decided first to turn to Michael and say one last thing before he did. "Hey, Michael, LeBron already okayed you in when Nikki gave word you were also coming. Now excuse me for I have to introduce this little pipsqueak's head to his calling." "Bitch-ass motherfucker, I'd like to see you try." "Thanks," replied Michael as he walked away from the scene. And, shit. As much as Mike would have liked to have seen that Benji character try to moonwalk his way out of that hurt locker, Michael had more important matters to address. Maybe I should just stay and hang out with them. I don't know if I want to see Nikki just yet. Walking into the building and taking a good look at the place, Michael felt like he had walked onto a set of a porno. It wasn't that everyone was fucking each other straight up all crazy like in 1999. But it sure did seem like it was eventually going to go down like that. The place was decorated with nothing but red curtains, neon lights, and leg lamps. There were sleazy-looking johns around some lingerie-cladded women. There was Salt and Pepper's Push It playing from the boombox set on the register counter, and Michael finally found the rap song he did like. Sexy black women rapping about wanting fuck. How can I object to that? The place was what was to be expected, even though the establishment was still billed as a cheap motel. It still looked and smelled, especially with the smell, like a brothel, all right. Although the only thing that was out of place was the picture of old man Aether and his wife hung up on the wall at the entrance. From what looked to be the 20s from their fashion and feel, the two on a tangent bicycle. And the two are smiling, just smiling so innocently, like, geez. And now Michael was once again asking himself if he wanted to continue upstairs to deal with the lady in waiting. I really don't want to go on anymore. Would really like to go back to getting me some kicks, flirting with chicks, and not finding out how much of a heartless bitch my Nikki has been all this time. As Michael crossed the lobby, he found one of the nymphos guarding the elevator, and the cat was a strange-looking dude that had something peculiar about his presence. Something in his aura that left you with question marks the second you saw him. Michael eyed him for a second and then spoke. Hey, But then all of a sudden, the nympho blew up with affection, hearts sparkling out of his radiating presence, and spoke back. Just remember, no matter where you go, a pause. There you are, said he. And with that, Michael's face cringed up all ugly, trying to make sense of what he had just experienced. What? Gasped Michael. When you go to her, remember this at least. She's really the man, and you really are the woman, and that's the truth of it all. Our souls be the enema, and theirs be the animus, and that there's the true story of love, said he again, and just smiled at Michael. Michael? Michael now, was feeling very, very confused. Who the, what? Very, very. The weirdo was all buck teeth and jerry curls, wearing silky purple robes, and who lit up the second Michael spoke to him first like a retarded slot machine would. They had been going against the house rules and had been giving everybody a payday with every pull. The wacko looked like Rick James with Down syndrome. Michael felt like what his first reaction should be was belting sparkly eyes here in the mouth and then asking questions later. Yeah, whatever, LeBron. Yeah, he upstairs. Go right ahead. I squeaked out the character as his eyes sparkled some more. Thought Michael as he pressed the button to call the elevator. Then noticed the fucker was still staring right at him as his lips puckered up some, like he was practicing kissing. Michael then placed his hand over his temple like a blinker, trying to avoid his stare and to avoid any more weird shit he might have in store for him. Stop it. Stop creeping me out. As the doors opened, Michael ran in. Inside, Michael saw a panel with buttons to call which floor to go to, and for a second there, he couldn't make sense of it. He saw 6 buttons. 5 of them had the female symbols on it, and the last one that was on the top had the male symbol. The male symbol was black, and the other 5 female symbols were pink, red, purple, brown, and black again. What do they mean? Michael then figured he should just press the black male symbol and hope that it was to be LeBron. Since he remembered his spot being up there, and then he started to ponder what the colors were supposed to symbolize. So on each floor, there's something there that's pink, red, purple, brown, and black. What? And then, oh fuck me. When it dawned on him, Michael almost pissed himself laughing. Oh fuck me, really? But which one would I choose though? Red. Definitely red. One other thing Michael noticed in the elevator was there was a mirror on top, and Michael began shaking his head and frowning for how absurd this all seemed. What's next? They're going to have mirrors on the floors in the bathrooms or something? Fucking perverts. As the doors to the elevator flung open, reaching the man floor, Michael was then greeted by the image of a giant penis on the wall up front. It was done in graffiti art and had a golden crown on its crown and diamond and gold jewelry around the shaft. Michael decided to shrug it off and not apply another thought into it. Alright, enough. As much of a fiend I've been in my life, I'm now starting to feel like taking a hatchet to this place. Keeping his head down and trying to avoid seeing anything else that was going to have him dumbfounded, Michael continued down the hall and saw a door at the far end that had L'Espace Lebrun printed on its nameplate. Thought Michael, for he was almost there. It was now feeling the weariest he'd felt all night long. Almost felt like dodging into a room beside him and just knocking out for the night. Passing a couple of naked women, Michael came across one very extremely exquisitely beautiful Puerto Rican girl who had Michael feeling taken in, making him feel unable to do anything but at least extend a smile. Wow. But at this moment, Michael wasn't exactly at 100%, present in his vibrant ways with his vibrant smile, but was feeling pretty damn low, lost and defeated. And worse yet, feeling like I really need some comfort right now, some human comfort. A shoulder to lay my head down low onto. And since his vibes were coming off as about as pathetic as a John's, to that Puerto Rican girl right now, the sight of him had the girl rolling her eyes. Ha, figured. And in that moment, seeing that almost sent Michael through the roof. Fucking bitch, thought Michael, as the thought was then carried over in his face, as he began showing teeth to the girl. The girl, knowing exactly what that meant, considering her line of work, freaked and ran off. Wait, I'm not gonna attack. And now leaving Michael feeling about the lowest he had felt all night. I wasn't gonna, fucking bitch. And Michael now felt prime time ready to seriously go through the roof as his thoughts skewed off course and into a tangent of purely concentrated hatred. Fuck women. Fuck them. Fucking coward. I wasn't gonna, it feels like all my life I've done nothing but send all my energy into trying to do nothing but trying to get them to like me. Building up this stupid ass macho asshole persona which they love so much. And fuck. And the second I don't have the heart to come off like that is the second they'll take me for nothing but a loser. Sorry, senorita, sorry. I can't be your champion every last fucking second of the day. I have my downtime too, which I'm gonna need something more than just you sucking me off to make me feel better. Sorry I can't entertain your penis envy this very second. Please forgive me. Fuck, I hate women. And deep down, I can see now, clearly. I always have. Why is it that women are always the ones that are a mess and need emotional support, and the dude's supposed to be the fearless, impenetrable one that's hard as a rock? I always have to be the ideal. I can never just be a human fucking being for once. Fuck, I hate women. And what good are they beyond sex? Emotional support? They're too wrapped up in their own worlds where only their problems and fears matter. And as for mine, since I'm a dude, they're not even supposed to exist. I'm never allowed to be that way, and God help me if I feel depressed enough to feel like crying. For that, I deserve getting my stupid fucking nose being busted open. Bloody. Michael had a pause as he tried not to think too much about that day. We're all a bunch of grunting, brooding Neanderthals, idiots. Only good for being some white knight in shining armor for them. Going out to make money for them so they can spend it buying lingerie, which they plan to wear for other douchebags. Or going to war and dying for some bullshitting cause while they wait for the real alphas to come back home to really mate with. And Lord help those beta males, those nice guys, the 90% of men with the weaker genes that aren't cut out to procreate, since it's all about survival of the fittest. Lord help them if they're looking for a woman for even just emotional support, because let's face it, if your dick ain't 10 inches or more, they're not going to want to do with you. They might even laugh in your face for even trying. It's like a Discovery Channel, really. They're all a bunch of stupid animals going off instincts, watching two stupid males of whatever species butting heads while the hundreds of them wait on the sidelines to see which one they'll be fucking later. They're all stupid animals with no humanity to think of. No humanity to think beyond themselves and their instincts to mate with the one with the best genes. Programmed, fucking programmed. All my life I've obsessed about not being weak, not being left out and pushed to the side because I might turn out to be one of them. And honestly, I feel fed up with thinking this way and playing this survival of the fittest game and being part of this heartless and soulless mating ritual. It feels fucked up that that's all they'll ever like me for. Being the winner, but wouldn't even give me a second of attention if I was the one coming out to be the loser. Fuck women. And I love how in movies, women are always portrayed as the emotional supportive types. With all my life, all the women I've met were cold-hearted, humorless, vain, definitely inherently evil in every fucking possible ways imaginable, psychotic a lot of the time, and always uncaring. Every last fucking one of them. Seems like in those movies you had some lonely-hearted beta types writing up shit on how they wish things were like. Wished. Just like the fearless, heroic alpha male is supposed to be the ideal male, the caring and supportive love interest is supposed to be the ideal female, but it's all bullshit, really. None of that shit really exists. Men always being suave and fearless, being untouchable, being James Bond, who's basically a power fantasy like Superman is for kids, but for adults, it doesn't exist. The ideal of a man being completely disconnected from the world around him, living in a world of his own, where he's this ultimate badass that can't be touched by such things as fear and doubt and discouragement is not possible. I've been in millions of fights, and it still scares the shit out of me every time I feel how it's about to go down again. I picked up millions of chicks, and the thought that they might not like me still scares the shit out of me as well. Only reason I've gotten so good at both is because I've done it so often. I've learned how to persevere. I've taken the extra step. I rolled with the punches. I kept stretching for it until I reached the finish line. And the only thing that really drove me that far was the fear that I might not make it. The fear that I might lose and then be abandoned by all that would see me as the loser. That's what really drives a man to such lengths. Without the fear of losing, there can be no drive for winning. And that's why James Bond is a one-dimensional impossibility. How can you exist in a world of your own, being so suave and fearless, being a fighter and a lover without the fear there to drive you forward in the real world, dealing with real dangers? But really, all it is a fantasy. All it is a fantasy all the beta males came up with, since they don't understand how the real world works. There are thinkers in the world, and then there are doers. Thinkers love to do nothing but create a fictional reality, imagining how the world is like. And then there's the doers. Those that know just how much of a scary place this world is, and no matter how tough you are, you're still gonna die in the end. Fuck James Bond, but all the women love him and all the men wanna be him. Oh, and now let's go to the female character archetype. Now what's that about supportive love interest? About women being caring? What nonsense, because it doesn't exist either. They're not capable of love. You have to be strong to be so. They're not. I mean, and this now was very important to Michael, something truly deeply seated. I mean, really, if there was to at least be one woman, just one, that should have loved me, it should have been her, that bitch. Michael then went back to that one memory of himself at 12, crying before the curse began. But no. She wanted nothing to do with that. She'd rather be out at some Hollywood party blowing some producer offering her a part in some movie than be with me. And then something completely different almost happened. Completely different. Wait, Michael, what are you trying to do? No, don't do that. Don't start. Fuck. But Michael was unable to stop it before he could. I've been with thousands of women, and they're all the same. As long as I can excite them with my vibrant ways when I'm feeling it, they love it. They love me. After sex, when I revert back to my real self, my real fucking self, seeing how mopey and jaded I get, they immediately want to leave me for another. Who wants a broken mule when you could ride a vibrant stallion? Funny how a couple of them asked me why men aren't emotionally available and asked me to open up, and when I did, they then realized they wanted nothing to do with what I had to offer. Goes to show, you can't even trust women to tell you what they want. They'll write a book on the subject matter of what they seek in a mate, but then go for the complete opposite, some douchebag, just because he gets her wet. Going after the first happy-go-lucky jackass that asks to see her tits. That's how I've played it. That's what's got me to score so often. I can't even have a real conversation with them. I have to go completely stupid mode on them because that's what they really want. Besides a 10-ton dick. As long as we're idiots, the easier it'll be to control us, I guess. None of them know what they want, really, but they all want the same thing. A fucking guard dog. And they're all so weak, too. Not just physically, but mentally, too. That's why they all want the strong bad boy type around under their control to fight all their battles for them. Nice guys can't do that since they all a bunch of wimps. A bigger pussy than they are. But my type, they'll keep us around like guard dogs for that. But the minute we start to grow weary of old age, or when we no longer have the fight left within us, that's when they'll take us to the pound to put us to sleep. And we'll then find another. Then again, funny how the only time they do come across as being strong is when they're bitching about something that involves their ego, since the whole world revolves around them and what they think and say. That's when they get their strength to fight their own battles. As long as it doesn't get physical, for then, douchebags like me will have to step in to finish the fight. They have just cause to bitch and moan all they want for how dare the rest of the world for not treating them like princesses every second of every fucking minute of every fucking day. Fuck women. I hate them. I fucking hate them. I really, really fucking hate them. Michael then ran for his rosary, pulled it out, kissed it 10 times, placed it in his mouth, and almost tried to swallow it for a second. Then he pulled it out. Began rubbing it hard up against his forehead to the point he began to scrape the skin off the surface, coming up with a bit of blood, then stared at it for a minute straight, and finally looped. I'm gonna lose it, really. When I go in there, oh God, give me the strength to handle it. Give me the strength to handle it. Then Michael felt some of that demonic feelings in his midst, raging for the opposite. And then looked left and saw some of his reflection from the glass of a framed painting. Not his eyes, but possibly its. No. Michael then bashed the picture with his fist as the glass shattered. And then it went away. Shit, what did I do? Looking around, it looked like no one had noticed. Oh, please help me. Help me through this night. Give me the power to do what's needed. Fuck, Michael. Don't ever think that way again. Not ever again. Fuck me in these tangents I sometimes have. Burning over something or another as I end up burning myself. And what was I even thinking? Who am I kidding? Those women that asked me to open up, I never did. Since I was too chicken shit and was afraid they'd reject me if they saw how much of a mess I really am. I'm the one that's incapable of love. Well, if anything, I've at least always loved Nikki. Nikki always loved me. If anything, she's the only one that really has. Michael took a minute to regain composure and then walked up to LeBron's door to knock. Come on in. Michael heard LeBron speak on the other end, and Michael did so.